Welcome to the channel, I'm Amedio602, and today I'm going to tell you how to get the Platinum Trophy in Elden Ring. First off, is this a difficult trophy to get? Yes and no. It is difficult if you choose to make it difficult. However, if you use some of the things built into the game like co-op summoning and spirits, the game isn't all that difficult. But regardless of that, it will still take you a long time to Platinum. In my particular case, it took me about 165 hours to earn the Platinum Trophy, and I was level 192 when I finally finished. I'm not saying that the Platinum Trophy will take you that long. I ended up doing a lot of co-op with my friend and explored a whole lot of optional areas. I would, however, expect to spend at least 100 hours on the Platinum for this game. To earn the Platinum Trophy, you need to earn 41 other trophies. I've divided these 41 trophies into 4 major categories. First, we have the easy, or what I like to call the Gimme Trophies, that you'll probably obtain even if I don't tell you how to get them. Then there are 3 trophies available for 3 of the different endings in the game. There are 30 trophies for the bosses, and there are 4 trophies for collecting legendary loot. If you're interested in just one of these categories, be sure to use YouTube's chapters feature to skip to the appropriate area. By the way, for the boss locations and the locations of the legendary loot, we're going to have maps up on the screen, so you can easily take screenshots of those to make your life a little bit easier. One last thing before we get started, this is a Platinum Trophy guide, so there are going to be spoilers. If you would like to have a spoiler-free experience, then I recommend you play the game up until a character asks you to commit a cardinal sin. When this happens, just say no to the cardinal sin, come back here, and most of the rest of the video should be spoiler-free. One last thing, while you're doing this playthrough, try not to injure any of the non-hostile NPCs because doing so could invalidate some of the trophies and force you to re-roll your character. First up, I want to talk about these Gimme Trophies, or really they're free trophies. The first of these trophies that you will earn is called Round Table Hold, and you'll get this just for traveling to the Round Table Hold location. The second one you'll probably get is called Great Rune. You can immediately unlock this trophy by killing Shardbearer Renala, who is required for one of the boss trophies later on, or you can also do it by killing the other Shardbearers and taking their Great Runes to one of the Divine Towers scattered throughout the world. Next, we have a trophy for upgrading any armament to its highest stage. I suspect you'll get this before the end of the game, and you'll probably have numerous weapons upgraded to the maximum level. Finally, we have a trophy called Erd Tree of Flame, and you get this trophy just by playing through the story, so you don't need to worry about doing anything out of the way for this one. Next, we have 3 different trophies that you can unlock by unlocking the different endings for the game. There are 2 ways to do this. First of all, you can legitimately play through the game 3 times and unlock 3 different endings to get each of the trophies. Alternatively, you can unlock all 3 of these endings very quickly if you have a backup save. The ideal location for this save is just after beating the final boss named Elden Beast and before interacting with the item at the end of the boss fight. The first trophy is called Elden Lord, and there are numerous different Elden Lord endings that you can achieve. Basically, this is just the normal ending of the game. You walk up to the statue, interact with it, and if you've completed some of the quests, you'll have some options here. It doesn't really matter which one you choose, you will get the trophy once you've unlocked that ending. The second trophy is called Age of the Stars. You can earn this trophy by following all the steps from Ranni the Witch in order to unlock the Ranni ending. PowerPix has a terrific guide for how to unlock this ending, and rather than recreate all that work, I'm just going to link to it in the description of this video, so check that out for more details. After the final boss fight, if you've properly completed all the steps to the Ranni quest, then there will be a blue summon sign for Ranni the Witch on the floor. Interact with the summon sign to unlock the Age of the Stars ending. The third and final trophy that you can get for different endings of the game is for a trophy called Lord of the Frenzied Flame, and this is my personal favorite ending, just because I did a no armor playthrough. So yeah, this one really suited me. In order to get this ending, you have to fight your way all the way to the bottom of the sewers of Lendel Royal Capital and kill the boss down there. After that, there is a very annoying platforming section and a fake floor that you need to fall through to unlock a Site of Grace and a red door. Take off all your armor and interact with the red door to scar your body. If your body is scarred when you interact with the final item after the final boss battle, you will unlock the Lord of the Frenzied Flame trophy. By the way, if you somehow accidentally do this before battling the final boss, you can use an item called Miquella's Needle to reverse the scar and get the regular Elden Lord ending. So basically, I would recommend beating the game without having the scar to get the Elden Lord ending, then reloading your save game back up, and interacting with Ranni's summon sign to get the Age of the Stars ending, reloading the backup one more time, and then traveling to the red door, taking off all your armor, getting the scar, and then achieving the Lord of the Frenzied Flame ending. So there was a whole lot there that might be a little bit confusing, but once you get to the end of the game, it all kind of makes sense, and you'll just have to trust me on that. If you do have comments or questions about any of that though, please be sure to leave them in the comments below so I can answer those for you. Now let's talk about bosses. You can obtain 30 different trophies for beating various bosses in Elden Ring. I have separated those bosses into 4 different sections. In the early game, there are 8 different bosses that you can battle across Limgrave, Liurnia of the Lakes, the Weeping Peninsula, and Kylid. On the screen right now, you can see the map scrolling across with all of the locations for these bosses labeled. Feel free to pause the video or replay this section if you want to see these locations again. Next up, we have 8 more bosses in the underground section of the game. And the underground section of the game is kind of interesting because some of it's early game, some of it's mid game, and some of it's not even unlocked until after you beat Shardbearer Radahn. So yeah, the underground section is kind of a mess, but this was really the best way I could come up with for showing everything on the map at once. There are 10 trophies to be earned from different bosses in what I like to call the mid-game sections. That includes Volcano Manor, the Altus Plateau, Mountaintops of the Giants, and Mikellis Halig Tree. One important thing to know is that in order to gain access to the Halig Tree, you'll need to find 2 halves of a medallion. One of those halves can be found in the Mountaintops of the Giant, and the other half can be found in Liurnia of the Lakes. Finally, you can earn the last 4 trophies for defeating bosses in the late game after committing the Cardinal Sin. All 4 of these trophies are earned in Crumbling Farum Azula and Leyndell Ashen Capital. Speaking of Leyndell Ashen Capital, the Royal Capital turns to ash after you defeat Malekith the Black Blade. There is one piece of legendary loot that you need to acquire before that happens, and we're going to talk about the legendary loot right now. You can earn a total of 4 trophies from collecting all of the legendary loot in the game. First up, we have 9 legendary armaments to collect. Then there are 6 legendary Ashen Remains, 7 legendary sorceries and incantations, and 8 legendary talismans. Let's talk about the legendary armaments first. First off, we have the Grafted Blade Greatsword. You can earn this legendary armament by killing Leonine, Misbegotten in Castle Morn. Next up, we have the Sword of Night and Flame, which can be acquired from a chest in the Carrion Manor in the northern part of the Liurnia of the Lakes section of the game. The third legendary armament is called the Bolt of Gransax, and this must be acquired before you kill Malekith the Black Blade. You can find the Bolt of Gransax on the Giant Spear in Leyndell Royal Capital. In what I like to call the downtown area of Leyndell, you can run and jump onto this spear, and you can find the Bolt of Gransax about halfway up. Next, we have the Ruins Greatsword, which is acquired in Kylid. You need to defeat the Misbegotten Warrior and the Crucible Knight in Redmane Castle. Next up, we have the Dark Moon Greatsword, which is one of my favorite weapons in the game, and to earn this item, you need to follow Ranni's questline until the Moonlight Altar. Next, we have the Marius Executioner Sword. You can earn this sword by killing Elamare of the Briar in the Shaded Castle. Next, we have the Eclipse Chotel in Castle Sol, just before the boss area. Next, we have the Golden Order Greatsword, and to earn this item, you need to kill the Misbegotten Crusader in the Cave of the Forlorn. The first 8 legendary armaments that I've just listed can all be acquired before committing the Cardinal Sin. The 9th and final legendary armament is the Devourer's Scepter. To earn this item, you need to kill Invader Bernal in Crumbling Farum Azula. When you defeat him, you should get the Devourer's Scepter, and if you've acquired all 9 legendary armaments, you should get the Legendary Armaments trophy. One quick tip, the trophy did not appear for me right away until I started moving items in and out of storage, so you might have to do that as well. You can also earn a trophy by collecting 6 different legendary Ashen Remains. All 6 of these Ashen Remains can be collected before you commit the Cardinal Sin. First up, we have Lutel the Headless. You can find these Ashen Remains by defeating the boss at the Tombsword Catacombs. The Mimic Tier Ashen Remains can be found in a chest locked behind an imp statue in the Knight's Sacred Ground. The legendary Ashen Remains for Black Knight Tish are dropped by Electo, the Black Knife Ringleader, upon defeating him in the Ringleader's Everjail. This can be done partway through the Ranni questline, right after you obtain the Dark Moon Greatsword. Next, we have the legendary Ashen Remains of Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff. These can be found in the Sainted Hero's Grave west of Leyndell Royal Capital. There are a few different heroes' graves near the Royal Capital, just be sure that you are in the one called the Sainted Hero's Grave. The next legendary Ashen Remain is from Red Mane Knight Ogha, which is dropped by a putrid tree spirit in the War Dead Catacombs. The War Dead Catacombs, by the way, are found in the northeast section of the Radon battle area, so you do have to kill Shardbearer Radon in order to get to this dungeon. The sixth and final legendary Ashen Remains is called Cleanrot Knight Finlay. The ashes for Cleanrot Knight Finlay can be found just after the Prayer Room Site of Grace. Go forward past all the soldiers and drop onto the right onto this rooftop. From here, take a sharp left and you should come across a chest which contains the ashes. There are 7 legendary sorceries and incantations in Elden Ring. All 7 of these legendary sorceries and incantations can be acquired before committing the cardinal sin. The first legendary incantation can be found by defeating Aiden, Thief of Fire in the Everjail just north of Stormvale Castle. You can access this area by using the Storm Spring after the Merchant north of Stormvale Castle. The second legendary incantation is called Grail's Roar, and it can be purchased at the Cathedral of Dragon Communion in Caelid. To purchase Grail's Roar, you have to have defeated Grail the Dragon next to Fort Ferrith in Caelid. The third legendary spell is also our first legendary sorcery. It is called Comet Azur, and you can acquire this from Primeval Sorcerer Azur in the northeast portion of the Hermit Village in Mount Gelmir. Next, we have Stars of Ruin. This sorcery is given to you by Master Lucet when interacted inside the Celia Hideaway in Caelid. In order to unlock the door in the Celia Hideaway, you have to be on the Sorceress Selen questline, where she gives you an item. Sorceress Selen can be found inside the Waypoint Ruins in Limgrave. The next legendary sorcery, called Rani's Dark Moon, can be found in a chest at the top of the tower at Chilona's Rise. Just like with Black Knight Tish, this area can be accessed right after getting the Dark Moon Greatsword from Rani. In order to enter this rise, you need to find and attack 3 giant turtles. The next legendary spell is called Elden Stars, and it can be found near the Great Waterfall Crest Site of Grace. You need to run along the tree trunks and explore this little cave to the side. The final legendary sorcery is called Founding Rain of Stars. It can be found inside a chest within Heretical Rise in the mountaintops of the Giants. To get to this incantation, you need to take an invisible bridge. Cross over the bridge and explore the Heretical Rise to find a chest containing the final incantation. If you acquire all 8 of the legendary talismans in the game, you can also get a trophy for that. 6 out of these 8 legendary talismans can be acquired before committing the cardinal sin. The exceptions are the Old Lord's Talisman and the Erd Tree's Favor +2. But we're going to talk about them last since they come late in the game. First off, we have the Radagon Icon. This talisman can be found inside a treasure chest on the 2nd floor of the Debate Parlor. Next, we have Radagon's Sore Seal. This can be found on a corpse in Fort Ferrith in the Caelid region. In order to access the Grand Lift of Dectus, you'll need to get a talisman from Fort Ferrith, and while you're there, be sure to go down and make a very tricky jump in order to find this legendary talisman. Speaking of the Grand Lift of Dectus, just south of that area there will be an Everjail. This Everjail is a little bit unique because it does require a Stone Sword key, but once you defeat the boss of the Everjail, you will be rewarded with a legendary talisman. The 4th legendary talisman, called the Moon of Noxtella, can be found in a chest under the throne in Noxtella Eternal City. The 5th legendary talisman is Marika's Sore Seal. Just outside the Prayer Room Site of Grace, turn right and drop down. The 6th legendary talisman is called the Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman. You can find this in the church at the bottom of Elfale Brace of the Haligtree. You have 2 choices for this one. You can either start at the Drainage Channel Site of Grace and drop into the roof of the church and fight the enemies guarding the chest, or you can start at Melania's Site of Grace and then go up into the church and clear it out in order to get this talisman. As I mentioned before, the final 2 talismans are after you commit the cardinal sin. The first one is called the Old Lord's Talisman, and this can be found in a chest in Crumbling Farum Azula. This chest is in the same area where you kill Invader Bernal. The 8th and final talisman, which is called Erd Tree's Favor +2, is found on a dead tree inside the Ashen capital after defeating Malekith of the Black Blade. I would recommend just running up and grabbing the talisman and then getting out of there. If you have any questions about any of these trophies, please let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you want to get notified about future Platinum Trophy guides on this channel. And as always, thank you very much for watching.